invite you all to be seated, and I would like to invite forward our guest preacher today, Karen LeBlanc.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Karen LeBlanc. Can you hear me okay back there?
I'm not sure you're on.
I'm not sure you're on.
I hit the button.
It might be the other button.
You know what the power is?
It's the secret button.
There's a secret button?
I failed to tell you about the secret button.
There was a secret button, y'all.
There you go.
Now we know. Thank you so much for having me here today. I come from St. Jude's in Cupertino. I completed the lay preaching training through the West Coast Collaborative with your rector, O'Cannon. I was granted a 3-year certificate to be a lay preacher, and I'm also on the faculty for West Coast Collaborative Retreat. I get to renew my certificate next year. I've been an Episcopal since 2002. I'm a youth mentor, and I also mentor for the Education and Ministry for the last 10 years. Education for Ministry is originally a 4-year course. The first year is the Old Testament, the second year is New Testament, the third year is history, Christian history, and the fourth year is ministry and ethics. Coming up this new year, they've changed some of our curriculum, and so there's an additional year that's a single-year program, which you might all be interested in, but I'm going to be talking about it after the service. I have a little booth over there, and I'm happy to share with you what's going on with EFM this year. I found EFM because I love to talk about the Word. I just do. I love reading. I love figuring out what the heck is going on. Why do we do the things we do? And so I found this course, and it's a full college course, but it's a 4-year program, but there's no tests and no exams. Sounds right. It sounds good, right? So easy. So there's a lot of reading and a bunch of discussion. When you start EFM, one of the first things you learn is how to digest the Bible readings. And this includes what's called the circle of hermeneutics. Now, it just so happens that in the West Coast Collaborative, that's one of the first things you learn as well. So it kind of goes from one place to the other for me, but for a lot of the people learning to be lay preachers, they learned this recently in their first year. So the circle of hermeneutics. Basically what this does is it encourages to look at the text in 3 different ways. The first is to figure out what is the text, what's happening, what's the genre, who is in the text. The second part is what is the world behind the text. When was it written, who was it written for, the social construct of the time, who is being addressed, the historical background. And the third part of the hermeneutical circle is what is in front of the text. What's the text through my own lens? What's the text through the lens of the community that I'm in? What's the text with my background, with others' background? What's the culture? How does my culture affect the text? So in the gospel today, let's talk about that for a second, it's in the time where it's Jesus's ministry in person. So he's there in person. We can tell by the pigs in the story and that the possessed guy and the townspeople are both Gentiles. We have a man who's been possessed for many years and a townspeople who've been caring for him by chaining him up in the tombs. So he doesn't harm himself or anybody else, but still changing. But they fed him, I'm sure. Then, in the text, Jesus expels the demons to the pigs, and the pigs then run off into the lake and die. The townspeople are a bit angry. That's their livelihood. It's their food. How can this be? Their pigs are gone. And then they come across the guy that's been possessed, and he's like clothed, and he's kneeling before Jesus, and they're all, Jesus, get away from us. You've just destroyed our livelihood. Get away. And what have you done to this guy? Right? So one of the things that this helps us identify is, what does being healed look like? They come across this guy who's been possessed, and now he's all of a sudden healed. He's clothed, and he looks like he's coherent. Wow. Has that ever happened to you? Maybe not as dramatic as being possessed by a demon and out of nowhere being clothed, but have you been healed? Have you gone through that process with God? Have you been given a purpose? Like this guy was. Go back to your town. Tell everyone about what God has done for you. What an amazing purpose that would be. So let's talk about the healing. I've been healed. God healed me. I had one of those moments. I was a young person. It was over 13 years ago. I had a pulmonary embolism caused by a DVT, deep vein thrombosis, caused by knee surgery. And I was on medication. It was very scary. I don't know about y'all, pulmonary embolism is usually instant death, right?
Yep.
Luckily, I was around the right people who said, call 911. By the way, always call 911. Very good idea. So I went through this process, and I got out of the hospital, and a couple years later, I was going to get a checkup to see if I still had the blood clots. And I had gone to a healing service. It was really a miraculous thing. I happened to be going to my church to pick up some things when they happened to be having a healing service. So I sat down with the people, and, well, yeah, I need a healing. Let's do this. And they're, what do you need healing for? So, well, I'm going to get this test done and to see if I still have blood clots, and I don't really know what to pray for. I just want it to be successful, and I want to not have to deal with this anymore. They're all, we're going to pray for God to take the clots away. So we prayed. I'm sure it's more eloquent than what I just said, but we prayed. I go take the test. The blood clots are gone, y'all. All gone. I was able to get a surgery done to remove all the things that were in me to prevent more pulmonary embolisms. I was off the medication. I was healed. Yes, and so clearly God had a plan for me, a purpose. I needed to drop everything and become a priest because I was healed, and now I have a purpose. Let's just do it. Let's just drop it. Let's stop what I'm doing and go become a priest. And then, in the quiet of my mind, I'm like, how am I going to pay for that? What about my rent? What about food? What about transportation? What do I do? So I surrounded myself with a community. I went to this program. It was a women's retreat, and there was a woman there giving us, some guidance. And I learned at this retreat that life is a journey, that God sets us on a journey. There's no definite end to that journey. There's just the journey. And so I realized that maybe I don't need to drop everything and become a priest, because maybe that's not my calling. But my calling is to go on this journey. So it's taken me a long time to get to this spot right here where I get to preach from time to time as a lay preacher. And I don't have to go through seminary, and I don't have to take care of the church, and I don't have to do all the things that your rector has been doing for all these years. Because maybe that's not for me. But I get to do this. It's also led me down this journey to be a EFM mentor, and I have been doing that for quite some time as well. One of the things that I think is so important that we learn from this guy who has been possessed for so many years is what happened? What happened after Jesus said, go back to town, go do your thing? But we have to understand the Bible is full of all this great stuff, but they never tell us what they did after the thing. Right? How many times does Jesus say, go back to town, go tell the people, go do the thing? We don't know how they figured out, when we do with Moses, I guess, we do figure out Moses, how he did his purpose, but on the most part, we don't really know how they get from being healed, from giving direction, to go on doing what God purposed them to do. Which I find very frustrating, because you think that they would document this better. Because I kind of want to know, because then maybe I wouldn't have spent so many years being angry that my body betrayed me with a pulmonary embolism, and I thought I had to change everything in my whole world. I mean, I spent a long time with that, y'all. But at the same time, I look back in the last 10 years, it's only 10 years ago, it feels like it was forever, but it really is just a blink of an eye. So now I'm here today. I get to preach, I get to talk about God, I get to do this thing with EFM every week and be able to talk to others about what's in the Bible. It's really amazing. I found that when being in community with other people and talking about these things, you start to figure out what that purpose is. Sometimes God is very clear. For those who have got the call, there's a little bit more information, a little bit more confidence to that. Mm-hmm. But when you have something so big as a healing and then a purpose, you need your community. And what I understand is that you all are going to need some healing. There's some big changes happening in your church. You're going to be going through a process of saying goodbye to Catherine. She's going to be going to do something cool, something amazing at the diocese, but that means that you will have to find somebody new to help you with your church. But what a blessing it is to have a purpose, to take this time to figure out what is your personal purpose in your community, but also what is the church's purpose in the community. But first, I think you need to spend this time, I encourage you, pardon me, to spend this time to celebrate where you are today as a community, where you are in your faith, in your journey, and in your journey with your rector. And say goodbye and celebrate those things. And then identify what is your purpose. What is God calling you to do? Personally, in your ministries, and as a church in your community. I don't envy you guys in this time. I've been through it recently at our church over 5 years ago. We went through this. But it's such a blessing as well. Now, I don't wish upon you any illnesses or possessions, for that matter, to have to get a healing from God, because that's unpleasant. But I will pray for you guys, for your healing in your time of transition, but also for you to find your purpose. And then I want you to walk with it, live into it. Thank you.